What do we hear?
My name is Ruth Latovsky. I'm a professor of communication sciences and disorders and also the Department of Surgery in the otolaryngology division. So the way that we hear is that sounds in the world reach our ears from different locations. And first they travel through the ear, then they come through the ear canal, and then little tiny bones inside the middle ear end up vibrating. And those sound vibrations push on this tiny little window that then gets a special membrane inside our ear to vibrate. We have a swirly shaped sensory organ called the cochlea. And then inside the cochlea we have this membrane that vibrates. And when it vibrates, it excites tens of thousands of little cells. They're called hair cells. And when the hairs move, they have ion channels that open, which bring chemicals into the cells, and they send information to a special nerve. It's called the auditory nerve or the cochlear nerve. And that nerve sends information up to the brain. When those hair cells don't work, somebody has deafness or severe to profound hearing loss. That means they don't understand speech, they can't hear music, and when they are deaf, one thing that we can do is to have them go through a special surgery. It's called a cochlear implantation. And in that surgery, a very tiny electrode is placed inside the cochlea. We stimulate it with special pulses of electricity. And what those pulses of electricity do is stimulate the auditory nerve. The auditory nerve sends information up to the brain, and somebody can hear that way. We call it bionic hearing. The work in my lab right now is focusing on a few interesting questions. One of them has to do with whether people should receive one cochlear implant in one ear or dual, bilateral cochlear implants. We are learning that when you give somebody one cochlear implant, they're able to understand speech and language, but they have a very difficult time knowing where sounds are coming from. Hearing speech and noise is difficult, and they're working hard. They have a much harder time listening. They exert more effort. When we give them two cochlear implants, we see a few important benefits, and we're starting to learn about the fact that when you turn both cochlear implants on instead of just one, it's easier to listen. We call it release from listening effort.